On a daily basis, what are the kind of case studies you come across?
Child has become so aggressive that it is not just mobile anymore, it is the games that they get addicted to. Some of them are when they are exposed at a very young age. Behavior changes where they become aggressive, you say, no, stop watching. So, all these are some red flags.
Hello and welcome to News First Prime. This is Archana Ravikumar. Today we will be talking about something very important without which we feel our life comes to a standstill. That is nothing but the mobile phones. From morning alarms to late night scrolling, we're completely dependent on it. But have you ever thought of the bad impacts these mobiles can have on us, especially on children? To talk about this, we have with us child life specialist, psychologist, Dr. Sushma from Aster CMI. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, doctor.
So, doctor, as I said, mobile has become a very scary part these
Yeah.
days. More than the advantages, disadvantages have been like way too much.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, what are the kind of case studies you come across in terms of mobile addiction? Because recently there was an issue that a mother just scolded her child because she
Yeah.
was not studying properly and she was addicted to phone and she committed suicide also.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to actually tell about this?
So we are getting cases which happens before these extreme situations happen. For example, we have cases where the child is actually threatening the parents that if you don't give this to me, I'll do that, I'll do this. So the parents, because there's a fear, obviously there'll be a fear that the child might do something and they might lose the child or something might go wrong. So they end up giving the mobile to the child because at that moment safety is important. So we have cases like that. In other, when we go back a little bit more, I have cases where, for example, the mother says or the father says, you study for 1 hour and then I'll give you mobile. The child says, you give me mobile for 1 hour and then I'll sit to study. So this kind of dialogue delivery happens at home. So the parents do come and say, we don't know what to do, which is a genuine concern because if it is not handled at the right time, it can lead to cases where it takes an extreme step. Just a month back, I got one more case where the child has become so aggressive that it is not just mobile anymore, it is the games that they get addicted to. Now they're getting the PlayStations 4, 5. So he's so much hooked onto the games that he gets aggressive to the point where he's able to hit the parents and the sibling. So the parents are not able to control the child. It's literally an addiction at the extreme level. So the child is playing all the time, doesn't know the difference between day and night, and the parents are worried. And if they try to take any step, the child says that if you do this, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So
I think
there is a
we've
fear.
crossed that line already, I think.
Yeah. So these are some of the cases I get. If not for these extreme, the starting point where the child is taking control and saying, you give me this, then I'll do that. Or I want to do this, so you give me that, then I will do that. So they are calling the shots, and that's where parents are not able to manage.
Yeah, even to take the shot, I mean, even if the parents have to stand clearly and say, no, I'm not giving the mobile, parents are scared these days because kids can go to any extent these days.
Yeah.
And we are seeing many examples of that.
Yeah.
What would you advise on such cases?
See, when parents come to me initially, I always tell them that, when they come for any other issue also, I always tell them, when you have a child, start marking the boundaries very, very clearly with your child. No is a no. There is no harm in telling no for things that the child has to stand by. Mama, I want the mobile now. No. I'm getting bored. What can I do? Do anything you want. Use this free time. You can get bored. Children have to get bored. Children need to get that boredom time so that the creative thinking increases. For us also it happens, no? When we have nothing to do, when we are bored, we're like, what can I do? What can I do? And somewhere some eureka moment comes. Children need that, that rest down, that calm down period where the creative juices flow. And when we curb it by giving mobiles and stimulating them all the time, that's where most of the problems occur.
Yeah.
So, no, let's draw the boundary very strict and say, no, it's
Yeah.
okay.
It's a very valid point. Actually, kids these days, the one liner they have is I'm bored.
Yeah.
So I think parents need to take a stand on this, definitely.
Very true. And it's okay for them to get bored. And parents needn't find ways to engage the child. See, parents are becoming more creative now. They have come up with so many amazing games to engage the child. And the child is sitting and waiting, okay, you give me the game, I'm going to play. I'm telling you, ask the child to come up. They will rock your world. Give them the chance.
So I think before we talk about anything else, we have to talk about parenting itself.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
the foundation. Very true. Very
more
true.
important than talking about de-addiction and
Very
everything
true.
else.
Very true.
What would you actually give a proper guideline to parents who are...
I'll tell you one small story, Ji. So there was a nice monastery, okay, a nice, all the monks and all were there, and the great monk over there, he was a master, and all these disciples were in awe of him and wanted to do everything as per his teachings. So there was this deer that used to be coming close by to the hut, and they started feeding the deer every day, to the point where the deer became very comfortable with them, and whenever it saw a human being, it used to come close to them, and they used to give it food and it used to go back. The disciples were very happy because in 1 month the deer is now very comfortable with them. So they called the master and said, "You know what, master? See, we have gone through your teachings and we are doing it practically. See, we are compassionate, we are empathetic, we are kind to animals. Aren't you proud of us?" So the master says, "No, I'm not. This is not what I meant." Can you guess why he could have been disappointed or sad?
Maybe because they're getting the deer used to it, and maybe it doesn't sense the danger of any other human
Thank
being.
you. Yes. See, you have made the deer trust all human beings. So it doesn't know how to manage when there is a danger.
Right.
And as parents, our job is to ensure that our children are safe, protected. But as they grow up, they know how to manage themselves when they are faced with situations where they have to make a tough call. For example, when you're a teenager or when you're a young adult, saying no to drugs, saying no to bad company, saying no to so many things when you're supposed to say no. First of all, it starts with identifying the danger, that I have to look at it and say, oh, this is not appropriate. That has to go on for a child. You have to teach that to a child. And that you cannot teach with theory, sitting and discussing. It doesn't happen. It comes through experiential learning. Children have to go through it. Children have to learn from it. They come up with their own understanding. That's how children learn. And parents have to give the chance to the child.
I think with mobile, all this has come to an end.
Yeah. With mobile, what's happening is that major point of thinking is not happening. There is constant stimulation that is happening. So the thinking is not there.
So how do we actually address this problem, doctor?
A simple thing is to say no. If you're just in the beginning stages, you can limit the screen time. See, below 2 years, you don't have to give screen at all. The child can be engaged in various ways. Generally, parents always say it is during the feeding time that it happens. That
Even
15
a 6,
minutes.
7 months old
Yeah,
sees the mobile
that
and
15
eats these
minutes or 30 minutes. So sometimes when, they have no other choice, even then I say, see if you can make a possibility of not giving screen time at all. From 2 to 5, like 30 minutes. And 5 above, I will say, if there is nothing that they can do and it's only screen time, even that can be something fun or some educational or something where 1 hour is the maximum. After that, it's not required. Let them go, let them play, let them read books, something. Other
Reading
than
is like totally out of the thing now.
yeah, very few children, but those children they do read books, but the others that skill has to be imbibed.
Yeah.
So that they have to teach the child. For that, parents have to keep down their mobile phones.
Yeah. I think it's important the parents first keep the mobile aside and
Yes, you cannot expect a child to not use the phone while you are sitting with the phone. One point to note here is some of our jobs are linked to the phone. Meetings happen, emergency calls come, that is different. But where you are also endlessly, mindlessly scrolling, that can be avoided.
Okay.
So the child knows, okay, mama, papa have work, so they're on mobile. But after that, they don't touch the phone.
Right.
So that concept, and it brings the family closer.
Yeah. Because but as parents, we are only so addicted and we can't keep the mobile. We can't expect them to keep it aside also.
It's a de-stress thing, no?
Yeah,
But
how
we are
do we
not
actually de-addict ourselves from mobile? I
Say-
mean, still
say-
staying connected to the
Yeah.
world, yet staying away from the mobile.
staying connected to the world is where you're reading up on things, learning, okay. But most of us are on Instagram, no? Where are we connected?
Right.
So that's a different kind of connection we are talking about, and that can be limited, but it's very difficult. Huh? I have personally tried it to see, okay, what all this is about, and it's so entertaining.
Yeah. And it's
That
the
you'll-
FOMO also, I think,
Yeah.
of being missed out.
Yeah, and nowadays they are so smart that you talk about something, it's there on the Instagram. You scroll one video, similar videos comes up, so it picks up on your interest so well, so you are engaged. Imagine when you are not able to control, the same thing happens to a child. He or she is not even in a situation to understand that, oh my god, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So it's more dangerous.
But in fact, sometimes even schools gives assignments on the teams or whatever we have.
Very true. I was coming to that. So earlier schools restricted, before COVID, it was diary.
Yeah.
Everything happened on diary, and that was the only connection between the school and the home. Now there are WhatsApp groups, there is updating on team links, there are so many things that's happening. They have a separate group, teachers group, that is different, but they have students group, children are together. So that is becoming a bit too much, where they are not able to balance, most of the children.
And the projects given also, they say research. Wow, how is the research? It happens through Google itself.
Exactly, yeah.
And one more thing, what I have seen is when a child is absent, teacher says there's a WhatsApp group, please go and get your notes from there, which
Yeah.
means they are
Yeah.
actually looking into the mobile.
Somewhere we are also being passive encouragers for that, no? So
Yeah.
if we want to help the child, we have to be an active participant in that. See, mobile has made all our lives easy. As parents, for us also, if the child is not eating, if I can show the mobile, my 1 hour job gets done in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm looking to save time. But the question is, at what cost?
But see, doctor, like for instance, my child, I'll bring my child to control. But then everybody around is with the mobile. How do we actually control this situation?
It's very tough.
Yeah.
So you have brought up your child where the child is saying no to mobile, child is saying no to so many other things that are not required. At the same time, you have to pump up enough confidence and stand behind your child when the child asks you questions like, Mama, why me? We have to answer. Simple thing that I heard one mother answer is, you are my child. I want you to be fine.
Yeah.
I can talk to their mothers, but I will talk to you. So I've seen
Yeah.
some parents being assertive and drawing the line, and that's important.
Is there some kind of a red flag that we can look for?
When they get irritable, when you ask them to put the phone down, when there is constant requirement for the mobile for stimulation, when there is a drop in interest towards other activities. Generally, when you give a child the chance to go out and play and give mobile, the child will choose going out and play. When the child starts isolating and saying, no, I want to be here, that's a red flag.
Okay.
Staying locked up in the room, forgetting, their sleep cycle gets affected, right? Eating pattern, social life, behavior changes where they become aggressive. You say, no, stop watching. So all these are some red flags. The way they talk to you, those are some red flags that parents have to watch out for.
Nowadays, I think all kids are more or less addicted. I can definitely say that.
Yes.
Now, what do we do to bring them back?
One step at a time. See, all of a sudden you say, no, I will not give. We don't know how many kids can take to what level.
Yeah.
One step at a time. Be strong and say, okay, you are getting it only for 1 hour. After that 1 hour, it's done. And children don't call the shots. Parents call the shots. You study and then mobile. No, you give me mobile and then I study. No.
I think parenting also we've let go. We've become
Yeah.
too easy and started aping the West and
Yeah.
not teaching defeat to our kids. Probably
Yeah.
saying a no itself is a sin.
It's a very interesting thing you just mentioned, because I thought, okay, let me dwell deeper into this. And I asked a parent that, okay, what are you most scared of when you say a no? When you say a no, what is that one thing that you fear the most? You won't believe, most of the parents gave me the answer saying that we fear that our child might not love us. I fear rejection from my child. So we are looking for instant gratification at that time. We as parents are forgetting that our job is not to ensure that the child loves us at this moment. Our job is to ensure that whether we are there or not in the future, our child can manage.
He
That,
or she has to
yes,
sustain. Yeah.
that we have given them enough mental and physical strength. Our concentration should be that. Not that at the moment, that instant gratification where you see the child smile and the child says, I love you for giving me mobile and you're happy. No. I think that's one thing that parents have to keep thinking about.
Right. So child's future is much, much more important
Yes.
than all this,
Yes.
the instant
Yes.
gratification
Yes.
as you mentioned. Doctor.
Yes. Because the mobile addiction is so high that the children are taking their parents also for granted. See, there's no gratitude.
Yeah.
Everything comes down because that addiction is so high. So and what happens is they will not know how to balance things. They will not know how to take no. They will not know how to accept rejection. And that's what I'm very concerned about.
Okay. So what would be the recommended screen time for adolescents also? For kids, yeah, 1 hour days should be good. What about adolescents?
For entertainment and all that, 1 hour.
1 hour. For everybody, 1 hour rule is a must.
How much time do they have? Nowadays, adolescents are running for classes all the time.
Right. In spite of it, they want a mobile with it. with
Yeah.
them.
So, and now even in the classes, there's something that they are doing in the mobile.
Yeah.
1 hour entertainment is fine. After that, instead of making your child, the 10th, 12th, I understand, but you put them in a lot of physical things. Let them, we are all social animals.
Yeah.
And the more they are getting addicted to mobiles, they're missing that social connect. Provide opportunities for your children. That can be done.
Yes, doctor. And what is the impact of social media? I can see that, kids have stopped living in the real world.
Yeah.
They're so connected to everybody virtually that they've isolated from the rest of the proper physical world.
Yeah.
What would you advise to such kids?
I had a very interesting case where this child was going through a very traumatic experience. Things at home were not fine. See, in many cases, for a child, when things at home are not fine, they either try to manage it or they find an escape route. Now, this child was also not okay, adolescent. So, there are these games where you can create your own world in the net, virtual world, multiverse. Okay, I'm sure some of the young viewers will know about it. And so she started creating a world where she designed the kind of parent she wanted, the kind of boyfriend she wanted, the kind of house she wanted, what she wanted to study. She created an entire world. And she got so sucked into that world that she was in the confusion whether this is the real world or that is the real world. Is there a possibility that I can just go live there? I don't want this. So what is happening is they are using that as an escape mechanism to run away from the real life problems. And you can't blame them.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to handle. They need someone to guide them and show them that, you know what, there is a way and we are here to help. When the child doesn't have that, they look for some escape. And sometimes these become very attractive.
Yeah.
And that is one shortcoming. Second thing is, it happens to us also, no? FOMO. We want to stay connected because we don't want to miss out on anything. So it's a huge pressure on us. Imagine how much children will also be going through.
Yeah.
So there is FOMO also in that. Comparison happens. So if there are children of different socioeconomic status or different cultural religions, there's so much of comparison that happens. So these are all some negatives that we have observed when they come to our clinic also.
And they are maturing much before their age. That proper
yeah.
innocence is lost.
Yes.
How dangerous is this?
See, it shows on your face also, no?
Yeah.
See, when you're innocent, when you're childlike, it shows on your physical health also. They both are interconnected. What happens is when a child is exposed to a lot of unwanted social media, see, parents cannot always check what they are watching.
Right.
So what happens is, even though when they are exposed to all this, there's a lot of things they understand, they try to understand and learn, which is not age appropriate. They don't have the capability to process that information, so they understand it in their own way. So what happens is, we have cases where we have 4-year-olds undergoing breakup. They're anxious and depressed because of that. Sorry, 4th standard. I'm sorry, not 4-year-old. 4th standard children. And I have 7th standard. I had a girl recently who came and said that, my boyfriend broke up with me. There are rumors. I'm very upset. I'm suicidal. So we have cases like this from 4th standard, 5th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard.
That is way too early.
And it's early.
Yeah.
So at the time where they are supposed to form friendship, there are other thoughts which are coming up, and this will hamper the relationship going forward also.
Right.
So that's what we are worried about.
How do we address this, doctor? I mean,
Mobile.
I know.
Mobile. So when the parents come, we say that, okay, first thing, we'll address the problem at hand. At the same time, even at home, there are certain things that you have to start working out with your child. All the time punishing will not help, because here the guilty parties are both.
Right.
So we also have to work on also, at the same time help the child also. So we come up with a care plan so that the parents and the child work and they get back to each other. Because in the end, no matter what, the child and the family, they have to work it out and they have to be there for each other.
Yeah.
So that's one plan that we come up with.
Okay. Now, what are the other ill effects of mobile?
Some of them are when they are exposed at a very young age. What happens is their cognitive abilities get affected, right? And eye strain happens. And generally what happens is, when one sense is given predominance, it's visual, right? The other senses take a back seat. So what happens is the other sensory issues will come up. And there is alteration in the sleep pattern. The circadian rhythm gets affected. So these are all some things that we see. But what we visually observe or what we see is the behavior changes. The child is not able to think or behave in a way that is logical, has a reason behind it. And that's where the parents are able to pick up the red flags.
Okay. I think the attention span has also come down drastically.
Yeah. When you scroll these Instagrams,
Yeah.
I came across some reels which are very fast. I was not able to focus. I'm like, okay, I have to slow it down or what. And one of my clients, she said, she's like, ma'am, for us this is fine. This is how fast we are, and that's scary for me. Like, how fast?
Yeah.
I'm not able to focus. So what's happening is it is just zoop zoop which goes on in the Instagram, and that's too stimulating also. So the exposure time is less. So what's happening is the focus, attention, everything gets affected, and that's not healthy.
So now, considering all this, can we attribute these anxiety, depression, everything to the mobile itself?
Of course, yes. See, anxiety, depression, they're all in a way the effects of mood, right? So what happens is when a child is completely focused on these games and there's very less social interaction, emotional, behavior, developmental, everything is getting affected. Where will they approach? Where will they go talk? How do they manage their emotions? One major thing that gets hit in a digital addiction is emotional regulation also. For example, when I get angry, I can either shout, I can cry, I can, in a fit of rage, write something, or take some moments to calm myself. That is emotional regulation where I understand how to behave, where, and when. Children have to learn this too, and we have to guide them. When addiction happens, this emotional regulation gets disrupted.
Okay.
And that's where we have to work with the child for that also.
Okay. And now there's this every child carries a mobile. What is the right age for a child to be given a mobile? His or her own mobile for that matter.
Many parents tell me they are giving it for safety,
Yeah.
right? So when it is for safety, if there's a school bus and all that, then the safety concern is off. So if you feel you have to give a mobile to the child for safety issues, then fine, but give a mobile where the child can connect you internet. It depends on where your child is going. But ideally, phone per se for the child, they can share a phone is what I feel. Or if they feel that no, I need a phone because I have so much work to do, then under parental guidance, probably 16 plus, they can have something, but under guidance.
So that is also above 16 only, not before
Yeah,
that.
this is very personal because the kind of cases I'm seeing, it's better that if they want a phone, it has to be under guidance until they are able to make a rational decision. By the time they are 16 and they are not addicted to phone, they will understand what to do, how to use.
Okay.
So by then we can also say, you know what, okay, fine.
So doctor, are there any scientifically backed methods to detox digitally?
There are different treatment plans that is given for digital detoxification. There are centers which run for this program also. The treatment plan varies depending on how much the child is into the addiction. What is the criteria in which the child falls under. So assessment will be done to the child. Detailed counseling and intake of information will be taken from the parents, and depending on that, the child will be under a care plan. If the addiction is severe, the child will be in the center for some time. They have different activities, therapies that goes on to the child, and then once that they feel the child and the family can manage on their own, then the child is sent back. But if it is just in the initial stages, then any counseling therapeutic setting will work fine, where there's a care plan drawn along with the parents and the child, and we should ensure the child has motivation, and then we work with the child and the parent.
Okay. Apps or techniques where we can actually track down the exact screen time monitoring can be done.
In most of the smartphones, there is an app, no? How many hours we are using.
So
That's more than enough, but that should be on the parents also.
parents also.
Yeah. See, if the child doesn't have a mobile at all, then it's okay to not have this probably because they don't have a mobile. Always you can advise your child to use a TV screen. Nowadays, everything is on the screen, right? You have the YouTube, everything is there. So if they want to learn something also, the apps can be put in that. The child can look at the TV and do it. It's a bigger screen.
Right.
Distance is also there. Or a laptop. But mobile, that can be avoided.
Yeah. Now, how do we restrict the use of mobile without the kid knowing that they're being restricted?
Right from the beginning, if the child is not given and there's not much attention given to the mobile phone, there is no restriction. It's not required, it's not required. The child will know it is being restricted when it was given something for quite a bit of time, and now suddenly you're saying, no, you can't have. So I think right from the beginning, certain rules and regulations can be set so that the child knows that, okay, this is what I'm going to get even if I stand upside down. Probably now, if the child is already addicted, you can come up with a care plan with your child and have a good dynamic between the both of them so that the child also works along with you. It's not going to be easy, but
Not
it's
at all
doable.
easy, I guess.
Yeah, but it's doable. So there has to be a lot of work from the parent side. Time has to be invested.
Yeah, even for parents also, like, is it okay, like, where they're working and multitasking, checking on the messages? Does that also affect on their concentration also?
If it is work related, you don't have a choice.
Hmm.
That's okay.
But work, everything is interrelated with the mobile.
Yeah. So see, if it is work related, it's a professional, you can't do anything about
Yeah.
it. It's a part of your life. But the child has to know how much the parents are struggling or how much they're working hard. At the same time, the parents have to ensure that they're giving quality time to the child, where they are with the child, whether it can be 5 minutes, 50 minutes without the mobile. Give the time to the child. I see a lot of parents feeling that, they work on a guilty conscience.
Right.
They say that, see, I don't see my child at all. I go in the morning, come back. So when they ask for a mobile, I feel bad. Which is, yes, but instead of mobile, you give yourself. You be with the child for that 5-10 minutes. For this also, I've had parents who come and tell me, Mom, but they are teenagers. They don't want our company. Probably they are not used to the company because all these years it has followed a certain pattern also, no? So start making the child feel that you want the child. Whether it's the other way or not doesn't matter. You want that company. You want to build that bond.
Yeah.
5 minutes, take your child for a walk. I heard someone say that he drops his child to school and that's the time. Do all that. 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Grab every single second with your child. And that bond will help when the time comes.
Yeah. So that 5 minutes, keep your mobiles away
Yeah.
and stick to the child.
At that time, you can always tell your people also, this time to this time, please don't mind, I can't pick calls. You can tell that in front of your child so that the child knows that you're prioritizing him or her before anything else.
Yeah. I think that unless you're a doctor, that emergency is not there in that 5 minutes at least.
Yeah.
I think parents should understand that.
I have seen some doctors also who have given that 5 minutes. They put it and they say that, for if it's an emergency, just give me 5 minutes. They delegate, but they get back after that 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes, the child knows that in all this, my dad or my mom. So that's what we need to instill.
Now, doctor, because of the mobile, kids have stopped going outdoors at all.
Yeah.
So how is it actually affecting physically?
Outdoor play is very important for a child. I'm talking about not virtual play, the physical play. What happens is, the motor system of the body, your fine, gross, everything starts working when you're playing. And it is not just playing, there is social interaction. You talk to other kids, you learn team playing. Nowadays, we see a lot of kids fighting with, even we did the same. We used to have so many politics when we used to play.
Right.
So we learn from all that. We find friendship. Children now don't get that chance. Because nobody fights in the system.
They're fighting virtually.
Yeah. So they are very happy. But when they face real life person, they are not able to handle it.
Very
So what happens is that social part gets affected. Physically also, they are not moving. So they are sitting in one place all the time. So what happens? Your entire body system where you're supposed to be active gets affected. So they have headache, can't sleep properly. Your entire circadian rhythm gets affected. Appetite gets affected. Okay, vision. You're exposing yourself so much gets affected. Cognitively, what happens is your thinking capacity. See, you have to think, you have to reason, you have to logically come up with so many critical thinking, executive behavior, executive functioning skills. Everything gets affected. So physically and mentally, there is a lot of impact. At the same time, you take a step back and you look at academics and social. Socially, also, they don't know how to be with other kids. We also used to have that she's not talking to me, she's not talking, but we used to go settle it on our own. Now children don't know how to do it. The team playing, we have a lot of kids who come with very low self-esteem. Adults, young adults who come with low self-esteem, they hide behind the screen. So these things also happen. Academically, some of them take a hit, some of them are able to manage. So we have seen that also. But somewhere the overall development of the child does get affected.
I think parental interference is also very high, I think. For small reasons,
Yeah.
they interfere into this, even resolving issues between small
Yeah.
two kids.
I
Not
see
needed
in
at
a
all.
playground, actually, I see more parents standing than children.
I know.
So you see
And
two
they get
kids.
so offended when the other child is doing something. We should just let it be.
Allow the children to sort out their issue. You will have to step in only for your child and tell your child when you feel there's a way that the child can handle things a bit differently. But you can only give options to your child and watch what your child picks. So you have to allow the child to form a world. Many a times I see parents telling me, my child is my world. I have nothing more than my child. then aren't we suffocating the child?
Mm.
Child is a part of your world. Child has a world of his or her own.
Right.
So allow them to give them that freedom, but at the same time draw the boundaries very straight, especially in digital media. Please draw the boundaries, because the repercussions are something that we won't see immediately, but it becomes very difficult to reverse it when it hits when it takes a toll. Yeah.
Right. Everybody can't be counseled. Everybody, I think
Yeah.
as parents, it's our responsibility per se.
Yeah. That see, whether it's not the question of what we can give a child is a healthy mind and body,
Right.
and that we have to give no matter what, how much ever we can in our capacity, that has to be given.
Okay, doctor, I think it was very informative, and it's scarier. The deeper you dig in, the
Yeah.
scarier it gets. It's
Yeah.
all finally the only thing what actually comes up is the parent and the child relationship. I think that is a golden rule which all of them have to follow, even for de-addiction.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show, doctor. It was
Thank
wonderful
you.
talking
Thank you
to
for having me, because this is a topic, right, which is generally not. We all talk about screen time
Yeah.
addiction. We all talk what to do, but I think the seriousness of it is something only when it becomes clinical. Only when there's a rehabilitation going on, there's a program going on, we'll take it seriously. Why don't we handle it at the root?
Right.
So I think thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I think after speaking to the doctor, we've realized that de-addiction is not just parental problem or school problem. It's the society, entire society comes in. I think let's all work for a better future by de-addicting ourselves to the mobile ourselves, and then letting our children know about the goodness about it. So I think crying about addiction doesn't help. Working towards de-addiction definitely helps. For more such content, keep watching News First Prime.